Welcome back to the Ross Bolen podcast. I am that guy, pal, and I'm here as always with mustachioed content captain Jared Borislow. J-Bone, how's your dingle dangling?
There's like a movie quote about this, right? It's like long, short, and to the left.
Short, shriveled, and always to the left.
What's that from?
It's from Liar Liar when he asked Jim Carrey, he goes, "Hey, Fletcher, how's it hanging?" And he goes, "Short, shriveled, and always to the left," because he's not allowed to lie.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually how it's hanging. You know?
Do you think it's actually how Jim Carrey's piece is hanging?
No, I feel like he's got a pretty good-sized hog. So not short and shriveled is what I mean. Could be always to the left. Many men's are.
That's what he used to vaccinate Jenny McCarthy.
Many men.
She was an anti-vaxxer, except for Jim Carrey.
If you're new to our show, we open every episode with a short update on North Korea's military prowess and then a long discussion around the viability of some of the current strategies they're utilizing. So a video...
Yeah, every episode we do.
Every episode. So a video went viral recently of North Korean soldiers at a military exhibition showcasing the might of their forces with some questionable feats of strength. Jared, you've seen these North Korean shows of force, right?
Yes.
They do these huge military parades and exhibitions where they essentially have all of their generals, and I'm doing quotes here because it's just dudes in Kim's clan, in their fancy North Korean general suits by the hundreds, sitting in bleachers, watching their military perform things that are mostly like marching and driving tanks and showcasing missiles, big scary-looking missiles and stuff like that.
Yeah, could you do me a favor? And you called him Kim. It's Supreme Leader.
Oh, I'm sorry. Supreme Leader.
Thank you.
So he puts on a show pretty often. I feel like they do this like quarterly, almost, the North Koreans. It's the quarterly show of power.
How has Supreme not sponsored Kim Jong-un?
You know in secret he rocks Supreme. He's got a Supreme tee, the classic one with the red box logo. Underneath every one of those idiotic gray futuristic Dr. Evil spacesuits he wears.
You call them idiotic. You wear Dr. Evil pants like once a week at least.
Well, they're idiotic too, but I love them and look great in them. He looks great in his suits. Nobody can argue that. His style is unmatched by any other world leader. It's not close.
I very much agree.
And very, very well documented. Like, this man is wearing pants that NBA players wore to the draft in the 1990s.
Yeah, that's Tracy McGrady, ruling North Korea.
Yeah.
That's why Dennis Rodman went over there to hang out with Tracy McGrady.
Dude, they're very, very behind. It's kind of the whole segment we're doing. Is like it's like they're operating on 90s culture still. 90s American culture is what is infiltrating North Korea right now. And is the thing of influence.
Because they just picked that up on their like TVs with rabbit ear antennas.
Right.
They just got like Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, it takes 20 years.
Married with Children. They just got all that over there right now.
30 years. Holy shit. 30 years. It's 2021. That's like, called math.
They love Al Bundy. He's just like he's king
Al
of
Bundy's
North
the
Korea.
king of North Korea right now. You think he's moved over there, the actor,
Probably.
just to soak it in?
I mean, he has a lot of money from Modern Family.
He was probably at this military show of power in the audience, for all I know. So here are some of the things they're doing. Have you watched this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I have. The way I would liken it to is like you're in a 7th grade physics classroom, and your teacher is like showing you, here's how energy and force works, where like if you hit somebody with something but they're grounded to something, then the power energy goes right through that kind of stuff.
They're like obsessed with hitting each other with sledgehammers while the person being hit is laying down shirtless on a bed of nails. And, like, the thing they stack on top of them is, like, first they did, like, ice. It was, like, a big block of ice. They're like, oh, yeah? Crush! And everybody goes nuts. And it's like being at one of those, what's the comedian who crushes things with
Gallagher?
It's like a Gallagher show, being at this fucking North Korean show of military prowess. And then they're like, all right, you saw the ice. And then they bring out like a big concrete block. And then they do that on the dude. And it's just like, what the shit?
It looks like a America's Got Talent magic show act.
Yeah,
like,
one dude wrapped himself in chains and then broke the chains. And then he broke a bunch of glass bottles on the ground and laid down on them and then had a cement block placed on top of him. And then someone hit that cement block with a sledgehammer. And it is exactly as if Tony Perkis is running North Korea's military. That's Ben Stiller's character in the 1995 film Heavyweights. These are literally things he did in the movie. Like, he laid down on a bed of nails and had Lars break a block of, like, ice on his chest with a sledgehammer. And that's where North Korea is at with their military strategy, which is just absolutely outrageous to see them bragging about.
Yeah.
They're in the 90s.
There was somebody on Twitter had a really good response. What they say is like, oh yeah, food and electricity have been canceled due to lack of hustle.
Due to lack of hustle. Deal with it. From Fox News, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un reviewed powerful missiles developed to launch nuclear strikes on the U.S. mainland as he vowed to build an, quote, invincible, end quote, military to cope with what he called persistent U.S. hostility, state media reported Tuesday. Bro, we see you breaking blocks on each other and shit. We are not worried about you. Stay in your lane. Stick to brainwashing your own people and denying them basic human rights. You fucking goofball. What's this do? It's just like a constant waste of our time.
And the thing is, you know that they leaked this footage because they thought it made them look
tight.
cool. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they're so off base here. And there's going to be a lot of that in today's show. People who are off base, disconnected from reality. And this time, I'm not one of them.
This is
shocker.
This reminds me. Yeah, that's actually incredibly shocking.
Huzzah!
This reminds me of like an episode of This American Life where they have like a theme for an episode and they say right in the beginning, they like give an example and go, and that's the theme for today's show. It's Ira Glass. Hold on, let's see if I can do Ira Glass.
And that's the theme for today's show. It's people who, what was it again?
I don't remember.
People who are off base.
It's people who are off base. And David Sedaris will be joining us in 15 minutes.
And that's how close we are to being NPR, is us and remembering the joke off the bat instead of both of us being airheads. Mm-hmm. We're close, though. You have a mustache now? I mean, we're really doing it. I'm wearing corporate hats. I don't know what that has to do with NPR.
I mean, I feel like NPR would be sponsored by Cash App.
True. They're in that same, like, we're liberal, cool companies that, like, want to make the world better, but also stack serious paper.
Yeah, I would call
they
that...
crush podcasting, NPR. They make so much goddamn money, it would make your head spin.
And it's like they're national. Like it's nationalized, I guess.
Public radio, but making bank off of ads, which I don't really know how that works.
I would also call... are you familiar with like Web 2.0 and Web 3.0? The concepts in general? I'm going to have some douchebag come down my throat.
Phrasing. Wow, I love this game. I love podcasting. It's the best. I'm going to have some douchebag coming down my throat. All you had to do was finish the sentence and you were fine, but you just couldn't do it. It broke you. All-time moment. That was good. Good stuff.
I can't recover.
You don't even want to tell the rest of it now?
Okay. Well,
I can't go straight into the ad read.
So Web 3.0 is like cryptocurrency. It's the decentralization of the internet, right? So right now...
Oh, fuck's sake.
Web 2.0, you have these like...
How many things do I have to learn? NFTs. Keep going.
You have the internet is like free for anybody to use, but there's these large centralized companies who pretty much run it, right?
Like Google.
Facebook, Google... What's the other one?
Yahoo.
Yeah, I don't think that's one. Yahoo. What's the other big one everybody talks about?
MSNBC.com. Ask Jeeves.
Yes, all of those, and then
Bing.
I would call like Square like Web 2.5 because they have like really noble ideas and they're like they want to have banking for everybody, but also they're making a shit ton of money.
Oh god, so much money, and so am I now because I bought a lot of stock when it was at its lowest. Shouts to Square. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor.
You're just wearing a Cash App hat.
I'm just wearing this Cash App hat for no reason at all. I like the fashion of it. It's not anything to do with me in any way trying to persuade you to
subliminally
pump the stock I own. No, but seriously, don't do that. And it's jokes. What's the name of the industry that regulates this kind of thing?
The FCC won't let
jokes.
me be.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Eminem. Appreciate it. Wait, so you're really not going to tell us what happened or what that story was?
Oh, the whole point.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Web 2.0, Web 3.0.
Yeah.
So what's 3.0?
It's the decentralization. Cryptocurrency, open source software. The world is yours, Ross.
Just words that old people like me don't know. That's what's happening here. I see you. Today's episode of RBP is brought to you by Harry's. Have you looked in the mirror recently? Like really looked? The beard that Jared and I have both grown out over the last year was like sort of a hot thing for a minute there. Everybody was growing out their facial hair, but now we all look kind of bummy. All right? It's time to change that, and Harry's can help. If you're heading back into the office like a lot of us are, it's time to get that fresh, clean, all business look back. Harry's is here. Your morning routine, shower, shave, and, well, Harry's can help with 2 of the 3 things that you do there and make them easier and better. If you don't know Harry's, it's time you do. Harry's was created to be different from other shaving companies. I was actually introduced to Harry's several years ago when I was a groomsman in a wedding, or an usher rather, and I was given a Harry's set as a gift. And it's one of the best gifts I've ever gotten for being involved in a wedding, and I was only an usher. It was amazing. Still remember to this day. Shouts to Jonathan and Megan. Thank you.
Also, we just so we're clear, we still do not like Usher on this podcast.
Yes, to be very clear, we do not like Usher Raymond, but I was an usher in a wedding. Totally different thing. It's cool. Still got it bad, but regardless.
He's down bad.
Harry's crafts high-quality, long-lasting blades and durable weighted handles that make a close, comfortable shave quick and, dare we say, enjoyable. And because Harry's insists that you shouldn't have to choose between a great shave and a fair price, they just give you both. Refill blades start as low as $2. Easy decision. Even easier, new Harry's customers get their starter set, which includes a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover, some of which is behind me right now. $13 value for just $3. Plus, Harry's offers a whole range of amazing face and body care products for men delivered straight to your door. I'm a 34-year-old man. I've been using shaving products since I hit puberty at 24, and I can assure you Harry's makes the most high-quality shaving experience I have encountered in my decade-plus of facial hair maintenance as a very hairy and manly man who has 0 patches in his facial hair.
Does your beard connect to your chest hair?
Not really. My beard doesn't even connect to itself. So, you know.
Which is why you need to shave it frequently.
Yeah, I need to get this thing back in check with Harry's right now. There's never been a better time to try Harry's. Go to harrys.com/RBP. Get their starter set for just $3. 100% satisfaction guarantee. You've got nothing to lose. Go to harrys.com/RBP right now to get this special offer. That's HARRYS.com/RBP. Okay, so I know we recently riffed on generational wealth, made some jokes at the expense of the rich. And I'd like to get back to that conversation because, like, well, first of all, international politics and military discussion, now generational wealth, we are NPR. What a cultured and intelligent program, much like Rick and Morty or Frasier, that you have tuned into today at the Ross Bolen podcast. But seriously, when you break this down, I think, after having given it more thought, that the mishandling of generational wealth is kind of one of the main sources of strife in the United States of America. And let me make my argument. Essentially, success left unchecked will eventually breed power without the experience to harness that power.
Mm-hmm.
So if some dude 100 years ago grinded his dick off to create an empire, and we're like a couple few generations deep into that empire existing, and the clowns now possessing all the wealth and power that original dick grinder built don't have the tools to respect the wealth and power they possess or know how to use it for good, that's a real problem, isn't it, Jared?
It is, yeah. It's a kind of an issue you see in most European countries that have a monarchy that doesn't actually do anything. It's just kind of a, what do they call that? For show. It's just a monarchy for show and for tradition, whatever.
Yes.
It's like how for tradition, Ross takes me out back every single morning and spanks my tight little ass.
Right, but that's a tradition for the people. So if you apply this concept to like a shit ton of wealthy and powerful families in America, and I would argue you could apply that to most of them. Like, I mean, and unfortunately, I've met a lot of wealthy people my age even who couldn't be more unaware of the problems of the common American because they don't care, because they've spent too much time disconnected from the middle and lower class. And it's this whole, the way the wealth gap has formed so drastically. Because if the wealthy don't even understand how drastic the gap is, or don't even want to acknowledge that it exists, which is the case a lot of the time, it ain't going to get better. And the great irony of the whole thing is that the building of that success and wealth that originally starts this problem is time-consuming as fuck. And it's likely the reason the future generations weren't properly trained to possess that power that was then attained.
Wow, catch-22.
So, point being, wealthy, not wealthy, it doesn't matter. Take the time to teach your kids what matters. What does matter? Morals, values. How to use your success for good if you're lucky enough to attain it. No matter what, but especially if you're in a position of wealth or power already. It's pretty simple. Otherwise, you're fucking everyone. Figure it out, old man.
A lot of these rich old people are fucking everyone.
True enough. We found that out more and more over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, an example of this. Now there are good and bad examples.
Of course.
There's great people on both sides. You have, for one, Ken Griffey Jr.
Sure.
I would argue he is more famous than his father.
Fair enough.
He also got a video game.
And an all-around seen as a good guy. Admired.
Now, on
pretty
the other
universally.
side, you have, from Ted Lasso, the Okofu son, who inherited all the money and seemed like he was maybe a good guy, and it turned out he was kind of a dickhole.
Total peace. Total peace. My favorite example of generational wealth is our former president. Oh, wait, that's most of them.
Oh, man.
Which one would I be referring to?
Miller
And that-
Fillmore.
Might be an issue.
Is it Miller Fillmore?
Yes, but it is seriously, it's like one of the reasons that at some point I'm like, could we all right, look, maybe not every time, but could we just get a normal fucker in office for 4 years and see what happens? Like just some dude off the street.
I mean, Mayor Pete ran. It's kind of...
I'm not talking about running. I'm talking about winning. We need I just want to see 4 years of a normal, somebody who hasn't been poisoned by politics for half a century.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? It's like everybody...
Oh, wait, that's what Trump sold himself on. Shit.
Well, yeah, that's true, but it worked. So,
But he was also a generational wealth guy, so
Yeah.
he already had the other issue that we're talking about here.
Now, okay, here, I will name the people who fit that bill, except they were career politicians, so it kind of makes everything not work.
Right.
Beto. He was a DUI-having punk rock band being in skateboarder.
Wasn't he a heroin addict?
I don't know.
I'm not throwing that out there as an insult. I think he really had some kind of addiction problem at some point, too. I could be wrong there. Just want to throw that out.
But he was more of a career politician kind of guy, and he just seemed fake-y. So people were kind of turned away because he seemed too fake. We need a guy who has those
real.
attributes, but
But as a real human being.
has never been in politics.
And is a real human being. Like, I don't even care. I just don't see why every politician feels like they have to go the same exact route. And I guess it's because you lose otherwise. Because it's just like,
he has no experience.
it's not like this is some genius code that you and I are cracking right now. It's discussed all the time. Like the gap between real Americans and politicians
Yes.
is the same gap that you and I are discussing with the wealth thing. It's mostly really, really rich people running our country. And if they're not really rich already, when they get there, most of them then use their power and influence and knowledge of things that we don't know about to become wealthy.
There's one extremely, extremely normal American who's currently in Congress. Now, I say she's extremely normal because she belongs to a very large group that many, many Americans are part of, and that would be Marjorie Taylor Greene, the QAnon representative.
Yeah, that's about as normal as an American as you can get right now,
So
actually.
we need that, but not that.
The normal guy that I'm aware of is named John Fetterman. Have you seen this dude at all?
No.
John Fetterman. I'm looking up his actual position right now, but I always see him on Twitter with like really just logical, sound takes, and I'm like, who is this guy?
Are you thinking of David Letterman?
He's the 34th Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania, but he's like running for Senate. And he's tight. I like him. Hopefully he's not like a serial rapist or racist or both.
Did you say Ryan Federline? Kevin Federline, is that his name?
You mean Britney's ex?
Yeah.
It's Britney, bitch. She's back.
And she's engaged.
God, she can't put a shirt on now. It's kind of amazing. It's like the ultimate sign of freedom. Get out from under your dad's wing at 40 years old, take your fucking shirt off, and never put it back on. She's the J.R. Smith of the pop world now, who, by the way, is now participating in collegiate golf tournaments, which I know that news was a couple weeks old, but the footage of him came out yesterday, and it melted my brain.
The footage of him getting stung by a bunch of hornets?
And him playing well. But also, yes, he was literally, the medical team had to come out and attend to him because he was attacked by hornets on a hole.
That's the last time that the Hornets have actually done any damage to a basketball player in a while. Am I right?
It also is why golf is the most dangerous game. Most likely to get injured. Statistically proven.
Some sort of injury.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like you break a fingernail, open up a beer or something.
Yeah. Or just Bryson pounds you to death. In a rage. Did you see him participate in a long drive competition?
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
I have liked Bryson DeChambeau since he was like just out of college. He's certainly changed since then, but I still stand by him. He's my favorite golfer.
He's a generational wealth guy.
Is he? I mean, he's a Dallas guy. If you went to SMU,
I just assume.
If you went to SMU, not on scholarship,
I safely assume.
You are. I don't want to.
And he was
insult.
probably on golf scholarship. And if you're on golf scholarship, I safely assume.
Yeah.
Golf scholarship at SMU. Yeah. Golf is not. Strategically, they built the fucking game so poor people couldn't play it. Clubs cost $1,200. It's like $100 a round unless you want to play on a fucking patch of dirt. And even then, it's like $40.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's only $20 during happy hour. Oh, nice. And that's if you want to walk. If you want to drive, it's actually going to be $80. You're like, what's it? Why am I? This is just a cart rental establishment.
Now you're getting food. Next thing you know, you're drunk. You got to do the rest of the day. What the fuck? Golf's awful.
Oh, but we should go golfing soon.
I love golf. We should go soon for sure. I don't like smoking a joint and hitting a drive 46 yards off the tee directly to the right.
We do not negotiate with terrorists. Now watch us drive.
Maybe the coolest and also saddest moment in American history, because he was talking about engaging in a war that ended up lasting 10 years.
And killing a lot of people.
Many people died.
But the best part of that video is you can tell in between when he says that we don't negotiate with terrorists, he just makes this little face and he goes, I have nothing else to say, and I need to go hit this golf shot. You can just tell he like goes through really quickly.
The wheels turning.
Turning. Like, what do I say here? Okay, I want to say this kind of funny thing. Should I do it? Am I going to get really bad press for this? And then he just lets it rip. And then he lets the drive rip, and it's a great drive.
It is, and he looked cool as shit doing it. But yeah, that was the dichotomy of George W. Bush right there. He was lovable, and he was a generational wealth guy that seemed like he understood the common man. And I think he did to some level. But he was also sort of a puppet.
Oh yeah, I don't understand. A politician should not go in, like, getting wealthy from being a politician is weird.
It's not good.
Because where's that money coming from? You make like $200K a year. That's not generational wealth money. That is
lobbyists.
Yeah, the lobbyists are paying your freaking salary.
Yeah, we see you, bro. And it's just hilarious that, like, I remember in the 90s, even when I was a kid, being semi-aware of this, like, that whole issue, and just being like, I don't know that that's, like, really a good setup. But I feel like as Americans, because of the internet and social media and the further exposure of things like Ted Cruz flying private to Cancun or Cabo or wherever during a crisis in his state, I feel like we're all more aware now of just how jackass these people are. There's just more of a light shined on that kind of behavior.
Yeah, I also like how are Citizens United, the whole like, oh, corporations are people and they can donate to whoever. It's like, they're not people. They have billions of dollars.
It's not fair at all. If we count them as people, then what about the regular people? We're fucked comparatively. I don't have to. What do I do? Because that's the problem. Corporation can write a check to back some cause. Well, so can I, right? I have that right too. Well, yeah, but I can afford to write a $100 check. They can afford to write a $100 million check.
And that check.
Who's going to win that fucking politician?
They're not people. They're a bunch of people. That's
a shit ton of people. In some cases,
that's like, oh, hey, you know what? We're gonna play a game of soccer. 11 people on each side, but the one team, one of the people on that 11-person team is actually 50 different people.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
So they've got 130 players.
You guys are fucked.
Sorry, guys.
It makes no. I never will understand that. We need to end Citizens United. That's actually, hey, you know what, man? That's Citizens Divided, bro.
Oh, sick. You're so woke, Jared.
I'm so fucking woke,
fucking
dude.
So woke, bro.
Let me get back to reading this David Sedaris book now.
Yeah, fucking hey, dude. Oh, man. But yeah, seriously. So, like, the wealth gap and stuff. And, like, now a lot of us can't even afford health insurance, which is where our next sponsor comes in. We've got a new sponsor, one I'm really excited about, because more than half of Americans are on crap health insurance plans with crazy high deductibles and copays and sky-high premiums, and it's a nightmare out there. I had to get my own health insurance when I started Bolen Media and became self-employed, and it is awful. It's the worst process ever. You end up not even knowing what you purchased, some crazy, weird, branded plan that you get skewered. It's awful. That's where CrowdHealth comes in. It isn't health insurance. It's a better way to pay medical expenses. CrowdHealth is a community of people who are tired of paying for a broken system, a place where you can get a simple, flexible, and affordable way to pay for your health care. Being in the CrowdHealth community can save hundreds of dollars monthly and put thousands of dollars back in your pocket. So why CrowdHealth? Well, it's a membership, a community of health-conscious members who want to get and stay healthy in return for lower prices. So you're rewarded for your health, right? CrowdHealth gets rid of the insurance middleman, passes the savings to its members. 100% of your monthly membership pays for actual health care costs, helping the whole CrowdHealth community stay healthy while keeping more money in your pocket. It's a really cool system, really cool idea. Membership starts as a monthly subscription. You can start or stop whenever it's convenient to you. You're not locked in for X amount of time or whatever. It's simple and transparent pricing, customized to fit your needs. CrowdHealth lowers your monthly healthcare costs, and you can see any doctor you want. They're able to make amazing prices because of their community of health-conscious members. And for a limited time, our listeners get their first month, guess what, Jared? Free.
Wow.
And after you've been a member, CrowdHealth will include a fitness wearable. That's 30 days to try risk-free, plus the fitness wearable. Just go to join crowdhealth.com/fit, enter code RBP at sign up. I think it's like an Apple Watch. It's like even more of a reason to go sign up. That's join crowdhealth.com/fit, promo code RBP. Go today if you're looking for an alternative way to get your medical care covered and taken care of. It's a cool community, awesome concept, CrowdHealth. Join crowdhealth.com/fit, promo code RBP. CrowdHealth is not health insurance. It's a community-powered alternative. Terms and conditions may apply. I want to talk a little bit today about something I didn't never think would be a topic on this show. Two people that I never really necessarily took much of an interest in. In fact, I mostly thought they were just doofuses. Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox.
Who's Machine Gun Kelly? I only know this one guy, Weed.
Yeah, it's now known as Weed. MGK, Weed, whatever. But, all right, so, like, I'll tell you my familiarity with both of them. Megan Fox is the Transformers OG hot babe to me, right?
And she's well-known. Never mind.
Because of the controversy that arose around that?
Yes.
It was because that was an example of, like, the Me Too movement in Hollywood being an issue before the Me Too movement even existed.
Which, that's like the whole beginning of the Shia LaBeouf downhill turn right there. I feel like he had just gone to A-list, right? Transformers, biggest movie of the year, I'd say, and then I don't even know what happened. Michael Bay
did some sketchy things related to her having to get her to, for her to get the role. He'd made her do some sketchy things, I believe was the story, allegedly.
Did he make her set up 50 billion explosions in the background of one of the scenes?
Yeah, only her by herself. He was like, this is the test. You have to be the one to plant these 450 explosives back there, costing $26 million, because I'm Michael Bay and I'm obsessed with blowing things up.
What percentage of like one of his movies' budgets is pyrotechnics?
It's just he's a pyromaniac. It's clear.
He's like Danny McBride in Tropic Thunder.
So Megan Fox, yes, he's exactly Danny McBride in Tropic Thunder. Yes, Megan. I almost guarantee he was partially inspired by like the concept of Michael Bay and his explosives. Megan Fox was that girl to me. She was a model, obviously, on all the FHM and GQs and blah 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 blah. Which Machine Gun Kelly, on the other hand, was like a rapper that kind of beefed with Eminem at one point. Maybe dated his daughter or something weird, or said something about his daughter.
I remember this diss track, and I was like...
He's always a controversial figure, right? And he's this really tall, like 6'6", really standout-looking, goofy white dude. And then he played one of the members of like Motley Crue, I think, in the Netflix movie The Dirt, I believe it was. And he kind of became a little cool to me, and I was like, what's this guy's deal? Now he doesn't do rap anymore. It's like weird rock, but I don't think any of it's good, but he puts on a great show.
He does like punk rock. He comes out right now on this tour he's on. He enters the stage by coming out of a pill bottle.
I mean, they're very weird. So I've started to hear rumblings about their strangeness, this couple, Megan Fox, MGK, how they consider each other to be each other's spirit flame, or something like that.
It's like a Patronus or something?
They're very spiritual, Jared. They're very spiritual. So this GQ article comes out. It's titled, True Romance. Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly are Hollywood's hottest new power couple, by Molly Lambert, who I ironically follow on Twitter and didn't know wrote for GQ. I'm going to read you a little bit of it. Some of the more interesting pieces, and one of them is the beginning here. In the back room of a studio, Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox are giving each other tattoos while I watch.
Okay.
The lovebirds' matching tattoos will read, "The Darkest Fairy Tale," a phrase Fox says, quote, alludes back to one of the first text messages we ever sent each other, end quote, in text message. Fox wants to get inked first because MGK has tattooed before and she'd rather not delay the pain. MGK clarifies he's done some drunk scrawling with the tattoo gun before, but this is serious. He dips the needle ink in, presses down on the traced phrase, and looks at Fox to make sure she's okay. Fox puffs on a CBD joint to relax. And they both decide they might as well just jump into it. He starts going over the stencil with the needle, pausing sometimes to take stock of his work and wipe the pen ink. God, that's sick, he says, as he looks at his handiwork. He smiles at Fox. It's going very well, but they could use some more direct light. This story goes on. This whole article is absurd. You have to read the entire thing. I'm going to jump to another piece here. MGK and Fox say they really met for the first time in 2020 on the set of the action flick Midnight in the Switchgrass. But they actually met briefly a few years before that, introduced at a GQ party in LA. So Fox tells this story. This weird thing happened. We didn't see each other. She looks at him as she's telling it. Do you remember seeing my face? That's what's crazy, he says. I don't remember seeing your face. She continues, I just remember this tall, blonde, ghostly creature, and I looked up and I was like, you smell like weed. He looked down at me and was like, I am weed. Then, I swear to God, he disappeared like a ninja in a smoke bomb.
I feel like it's not what happened.
Bro, what is wrong with these people? Okay, here's a quote from MGK. Even our first kiss, she wouldn't kiss me. We just put our lips right in front of each other and breathed each other's breath, and then she just left. Oh, the fuck? For their real first date, MGK picked Fox up in a 1974 Cadillac convertible, and they listened to Ella Fitzgerald. He drove her to a canyon's edge, where he had a friend waiting, with a picnic set up on a blanket and a sea of roses. Then they drove down Sunset Boulevard to the Roxy Theater, which was closed. We went to the roof and played pop punk and made out, he recalls, tipping a glass of Casamigos tequila.
Why did they need to include that it's George Clooney's tequila?
Didn't he already make like $2 billion off that? Does it really need a plug in the fucking article in GQ?
You know, people are giving Adam Schefter grief for sending out, uncompleted stories to get edits from sources on. I think we need to figure out who this is this Vanity Fair or GQ?
GQ.
Who this GQ person is contacting at Casamigos to
They got a plug.
Hey, let me know where I can put Casamigos into this. It's just be like, MGK's drinking it while he's talking about fucking listening to pop punk and making out on a roof.
They're trying to get a backdoor hookup with Casamigos right there. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. But these two need to drop the strain. Drop the strain, Fox. Drop the strain, MGK. I also am.
It's a CBD strain.
I'm also not joking. I am a huge fan of these two now. I can't look away. They are America's couple to me.
Yeah, it's like watching two theater kids making out in high school when you're in high school.
But they're the coolest kids in school and you fucking hate them, but it's also like you respect that. You're like, yeah, all right, I like that vibe.
They're total losers, but they're the only people bold enough to just flat out make the fuck out in the middle of the school.
They just don't care.
So you have to watch.
So you have to respect it. Like you have to they just don't care. It's what Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker were trying to be, and that's actually Megan Fox and MGK. Like that's actually the life they're living. These two are faking it, and they dragged each other into it. And now they're friends and like taking weird half-naked pictures together and with their tongues touching. They do a lot of tongue touching.
What's weirder, tongue touching or breathing in somebody's breath?
Tongue touching, and it's been a celebrity thing for a long time, where the sexy bad boy and bad girl celebrity couple are always they make out, but not with their mouths together like normal folks. They just tongue each other's tongues. And it's like, guys, we get it. You're banging. Like, we for sure understand. But I don't know that that's all necessary.
Do you remember one of the big stories about Megan Fox, probably like 10 years ago, was that she has toe thumbs?
Yeah, I do remember this. I've been on the internet for too damn long.
Yeah, I remember people. That was like the main like NBC Nightly News. Like Lester Holt was like, I guess it was Brian Williams back then.
How do you know these things?
Breaking news: Megan Fox's thumbs look like toes.
I haven't seen Braveheart, but he knows who the fucking last 4 anchors were on MSNBC.
Well, obviously it was Lester Holt currently, and before that was Brian Williams. Before that was Tom Brokaw, and before that was Les Goodman. Who's Les Goodman?
I think it's Tom Cruise's character in
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Okay, there we go.
Why don't you step back and literally fuck your own face? All-time character, dude. All-time character. Speaking of guys I hated and thought were the biggest douchebag on the planet, the biggest weirdo like MGK and Megan Fox, Tom Cruise. Then he did Tropic Thunder, and I was like, never mind. I don't care how weird he is.
The Scientology, I can't. I
Don't
talk
care
about
anymore.
it all the time. Being from Clearwater, Florida, I hate Scientology.
Yeah, but they got Cruise though, bro.
They got him.
He can't get out.
He can't. No, him and
So it's
John
not his
Travolta.
fault. It's not his fault.
John Travolta, who I've seen and who my brother complimented on the movie Wild Hogs, as I've said many times.
Infamously comments.
God, the Scientologist. When you,
It's bad, but you can't throw Tom under the bus here anymore. He's stuck. He's stuck
well,
in
they
the
have
cult.
something on him.
They've
obviously.
clearly got
dirt.
some many things I think on him, and yeah. So I'm just a big fan now because of that. Mostly because of that. We think his name was Les Goodman. We don't even know.
See, the only reason why a lot of people like Tom Cruise now is because his theton levels are supposed to be through the
Just
roof.
through the fucking
He's
roof.
really close to going clear.
Looks like Les Goodman was a former football running back in the NFL, played for the Falcons and Packers, and he died in 2012. Tom Cruise, Tropic Thunder. I got to get the real name now because I don't think Les Grossman.
Oh, okay.
Les Grossman. Close.
Pretty good.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Samsonite. I was way off.
What's Samsonite?
Dumb and Dumber. Jared, watch a fucking movie.
Are we gonna do the Jared?
We have
watches?
It has to be a Patreon tier once we get through all this groundwork that you and I are doing currently. You know? Speaking of that, today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by our new sponsor, Uprising Foods. Our food system is fundamentally broken. It's making us sick at scale, and the people at Uprising Foods are fixing that. Their mission is to liberate all of us from a fundamentally broken food system that is stealing our health. They have cracked the code on healthy bread. You simply can't find something this healthy that tastes this good, that's this fresh. Only 2 net carbs per serving, 6 grams of protein, 9 grams of fiber. They cover paleo to clean keto, simple low carb, high fiber, dairy-free, and grain-free lifestyles. All Uprising products are baked with real superfood ingredients, almonds, MCT oil, apple cider vinegar, egg white, psyllium husk, and olive oil.
What do they call you? They call you Psyllium William.
They do. Uprising has made prebiotic fiber delicious with their patent-pending breakthrough in psyllium husk activation, making fantastic digestive health absurdly easy for all of us. It all comes down to taste, though, and healthy foods are littered with broken promises. It can be very difficult to find tasty snacks. We all know this. Uprising has nailed the taste factor on both their sourdough S cubes and the crunch factor on their newly launched Freedom Chips. Great snack for the office or at home or whatever. Tastes like those old school rye chips you dig that are super filling. They're great. They're great. Uprising is offering our listeners $10 off the starter bundle. That includes 2 superfood cubes, and 4-pack of Freedom Chips to try. Go to uprisingfood.com/RBP. The discount is automatically applied at checkout. $10 off the starter bundle. Try it out. uprisingfoods.com/RBP. If you've been looking for some healthier treats, that's UPRISING food.com/RBP to get $10 off your first purchase, of the starter bundle.
I love rye. Rye is a pretty contentious flavor. But like especially being Jewish, like some nice pastrami on rye. Oh
God,
man,
yeah. It's good stuff.
Grab your light. This is Stop the Wikipedia when you're high.
Stop the Wikipedia when you're
The Murdaugh family. Murdaugh, Murdaugh. That's our stuff to Wikipedia when you're high today, J-Bone. The Murdaugh family are a prominent legal family.
yes. I'm gonna stop you right here.
Yeah?
So I'm excited for this.
Okay.
Because I've been intentionally not been looking into this case
In the story?
and the story.
Yeah.
Because
big right now.
It's big. I have too many of these to keep track of. You got Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie.
Okay.
You got some other one I already forgot about because
Because that one took over.
that one's why are we back into the age of murder mysteries going national, right? We haven't had one of these in years before all these ones.
What's the name of the chick that always takes advantage of this? Whenever somebody goes missing, she was in Gone Girl.
Nancy Grace?
Nancy Grace, yeah, she's like got to be back in full fucking swing at this point because it's out of control. You're not wrong. There's like too many murder mysteries around the United States, and it's a thing that it's like it spawned out of that true crime obsession that we all built. But true crime was usually past crimes or ones that are actively unsolved that people were looking to solve.
Yeah.
Now we're dealing with a bunch of like, this shit just happened.
Yeah.
And people are solving it right now.
There's
no podcast yet.
Like you said,
know?
it was either cold cases or solved cases, and you kind of you recap them.
Right.
And what's funny is like as all this is happening, you also have the TV show Only Murders in the Building pop up.
Right.
Which is kind of making fun of all of it.
Yes. At the same exact time. Yeah. So this family though, which I have not looked a whole lot into the current story either, but I will give you the gist of it today. The Murdaugh family, prominent legal family in the Low Country region of South Carolina, United States. From 1920 to 2006, 3 members of the family consecutively served as solicitor, the district attorney, in charge of prosecuting all criminal cases in the state's 14th Circuit District, leading locals to call the 5-county district Murdaugh County. The family also founded a nationally influential civil litigation firm in Hampton, South Carolina. In 2019, amid allegations of special treatment, several members of the Murdaugh family were implicated in a fatal boating accident. In 2021, 2 members of the family were murdered, while another was implicated in the mishandling of funds. And that's where the story is today. Essentially, this family got it's this very prestigious family in South Carolina that completely derailed. So the boating accident, Paul Terry Murdaugh was charged with 3 felonies after the death of Mallory Beach during a boating accident in 2019. He was not given a field sobriety test, wasn't taken to jail for booking, was never handcuffed, leading to speculation that he may have received special treatment because of his family connections. Paul's blood alcohol content was 0.286,
Jeez.
almost 3 times the legal limit for operating a motor vehicle, but the judge denied a prosecutorial request that he wear an alcohol monitor. Shortly after the incident, current 14th District Solicitor Isaac Stone III, called Duffy, recused himself from the investigation. Beach's family alleged in court documents that Alex and Buster Murdaugh were implicated in providing alcohol to the then underaged Paul. So he wasn't even of age.
Jeez. Okay, so that's the boating accident.
So that was just the boating one. He was free on bail, attending USC, awaiting trial. As of now.
Probably in a fraternity.
As of now.
Sounds like he would
apparently it sounds like. Yeah. Then there's the murders. On June 7th, it's my birthday, 2021, Alex discovered the bodies of Paul and Maggie near the dog kennels at the family's hunting lodge in Iceland, South Carolina. Both had been shot multiple times and with different weapons. Alex called 911 around 10 p.m., said that he had been with his terminally ill father Randolph III. At the time of the killings, Randolph III died of natural causes June 10th, 2021. That's 3 days later.
So he couldn't testify. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's getting juicy.
Yeah, it's crazy, though. Late in June 2021, SLED announced it was reopening the investigation into the 2015 death of Stephen Smith, who had been found dead from blunt force trauma to the head, or body, on a road in Hampton County, based on details that had surfaced during the investigation into the deaths of Maggie and Paul.
So they might have murdered another person?
Smith was a high school classmate of Buster's, had been connected to him in interviews, but the case had gone cold. According to the Greenville News, rumors hinting at a cover-up and the possible involvement of one or more members of the Murdaugh family began circulating around the Hampton County area soon after Smith's death. And according to the Beaufort County Island Packet, the case, quote, reeked of insider interference, end quote.
Okay, if we're talking about South Carolina and like crazy, juicy crime stories, why am I fucking spending all this time watching John B. and fucking what are their names? John B. You got.
Are you talking about the kids on the show?
Outer Banks.
About what are the 2 different groups called?
Oh, the Pogues and the Kooks.
Pogues and Kooks.
Yeah. Why am I wasting all my energy watching that bullshit when we have a real life South Carolina crime family thing
right here
that has more crazy shit going on? It sounds like.
Yeah.
And it's involved in like the local politics.
I'm not even done. On September 15th, 2021, authorities announced that they were opening an investigation into the 2018 death of Gloria Satterfield, who worked as Alex's housekeeper. The death had been reported as a trip and fall, but no coroner was notified, no autopsy was performed, and the death certificate incongruously said that it was by natural causes. Satterfield's two sons received a settlement of about $500,000, but by 2021 they had received no money. During settlement negotiations, the Satterfield sons were represented by a lawyer with undisclosed ties to Alex. He did not participate in the negotiations and did not sign an agreement. And then there's the mishandling of funds. On September 3rd, Alex resigned from PMPED after being accused of mishandling funds, according to the New York Times. The amount involved was in the millions. And on September 6th, he released a statement saying he was entering a rehabilitation facility for substance abuse treatment, as is the standard.
Okay, who did it? Who done it?
I don't know, but now there's an assisted suicide and insurance fraud scheme. On September 4th, Alex was shot in the head while changing a tire on a rural road. He claimed a truck slowed down, shot, and then drove away. The injury was superficial, and he was released from the hospital soon after. The shooting occurred one day after he was forced to resign from PMPED. On September 15th, SLED announced that Alex's former client, Curtis Edward Smith, who had also been Alex's source for an oxycodone addiction, fucking oxy, it always comes back to
See,
oxy.
that's Rafe. Alex is Rafe.
Had been arrested for having conspired. I don't watch the show, Jared. For having conspired with Alex to kill him in the roadside shooting so that his remaining son, Buster, would receive a $10 million insurance payment. Smith was charged with assisted suicide, aggravated assault and battery, and insurance fraud. Alex, suffering from massive depression and wanting to kill himself, admitted to concocting the assisted suicide as a murder scheme because he wrongly believed his son would not receive the insurance money if he committed suicide. So he could have actually just killed himself, it turns out. Shouldn't do that, but
I like that.
What
there's
in the hell, this family?
I mean, a character named Buster. We've been needing another one of those.
We have.
And he might be the bumbling fool, right?
So it turns out HBO Max is now producing a documentary series on the events surrounding all these murders. So we're
That
going to
is
get one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one. As everybody knows, I like a nice documentary. I prefer it.
I mean, Jared, they are literally the Murdaugh family, like the Murdaugh family. What the fuck? You can't do murder if your last name is Murdaugh.
Was one of them's name Bobby Murdaugh?
It's Murdaugh.
Is there a Bobby Murdaugh in this case?
I don't know, but you can't murder other members of the Murdaugh menagerie. That's called alliteration.
Wow.
You're
I'm excited for this documentary.
Jared, some people, I can't even say it. Jared, some people think murder is a sport. And speaking of sports, if you bet on sports and want to support the podcast while you do your sports betting, you can do so with today's sponsor, MyBookie.
I mean, Squid Game. Murder is a sport there.
That's very true. Hit MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code RBP to activate a deposit bonus. Stipulations apply. Last time I checked, it was a double deposit bonus, meaning if you put in $100 and use the code RBP, they will match that, hit you with an additional $100 for a total of $200 in your account to bet on sports with all the live lines, prop bets, futures, and more you could possibly want, plus the casino and live casino if you're not a sports person. The live casino is cool. You can watch the dealer. It's like literally a human person. You're watching deal cards or spin the roulette wheel or whatever game you feel like playing. But the regular casino as well, cool as well. Great website, easy to use, and they have an insane NBA opening day contest coming that, much like the UFC, there will be Blood Bet and the NHL opening day special that they had. It will essentially be free money. All right, so keep an eye out on our social media and MyBookie's social media for the details when NBA opening day approaches. It is coming soon, and they are going to have an insane NBA opening day event on MyBookie that will essentially be free money. So you'll have to get in there. MyBookie.ag. When you sign up, when you deposit, use the code RBP to unlock that deposit bonus and support the podcast so they know we sent you and so that you can get to sportsing and casinoing to your heart's desire. MyBookie.ag. Use the code RBP today. You play, you win, you get paid. Gamble responsibly. Always. Jared, I have big news.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for a medical marijuana card in Texas to treat PTSD that I've been fighting. And I've started the process or whatever. But yeah, medical marijuana is finally for real legal and available in Texas to some extent if you can make it through the archaic approval process and have one of the required things that have been approved for treatment. So there are only like 5, and one of them's cancer. One of them's like
epilepsy.
2 versions of epilepsy now, not just the one. We added another.
Did they add the second one?
I'm pretty sure.
'Cause I have a friend who has one of them.
I think he's good now.
And he applied a while back and couldn't get it.
I
'cause
think
it
he's
wasn't
good now.
Okay.
And I'm good now. PTSD's on there too. They're all awful. None of the things are good. So yeah, unfortunately, PTSD is something that I've spoken to my experience with it a bit on the show. It's really as a result of like, I've had so many panic attacks that eventually you think you're dying that many times, you develop this form of PTSD that I kind of struggle with and have spoken a lot to in our mental health minisodes on Patreon as well. And I'm excited to finally graduate to legal consumption with the rest of the normal states in the 21st century anyway, in this backwards ass state that I love with all my heart but want to fight often.
Now, all I could, I'm sorry if I derailed your segment. I started laughing because I'm trying to think of funny Texas-based weed strains, and I thought of Ted Kush.
That's great. That's very good.
What else? There's gotta be
No, it's George W. Kush.
Oh, that's so good too.
Yeah.
And what's some Greg Abbott one?
I don't even know. I'm gonna end up making like a
Can we make a segment
very
where
not PC joke about Greg Abbott
Oh yeah, I know
with his weed strain.
Well, what we should do? No,
No, I have to. Greg Abbott's weed strain is Big Tree Fall Hard.
You had to.
I had to.
You
I'm
had
sorry.
to.
I'm sorry. I am sorry, but I also had to.
That would be a funny segment. Is Texas weed strains?
We can do that,
We
for
each
sure.
come up with like 10.
When I get the card, we'll do it.
I like it.
So far, it was like apply here and you'll receive a call. So I was like, okay, when? When? So I apply. Like 6 hours later, the phone rings. You and me are doing something. I didn't get it, and they left a voicemail. Now I don't know what happens. So, yeah, TXOG is the company that hit me. Love that. It's like Green Health Associates. There's like 3 different layers you have to go through for this to even work. And then I'm not even sure where the dispensaries are or if we even have any in Austin. I'm honestly just trying to see how the process works, especially so I can speak to it on the show for other people that obviously need it like I do or need it significantly more than I do in many cases. But yeah, good things happening. We're rolling in the right direction, at least just at a very, 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 very slow pace when it comes to medical marijuana and backwards when it comes to women's health care, which is another reason we need more weed, frankly. I got a question from Sober Jared before the show that I would like to throw out to the podcast now.
Yeah. That's
What
me.
is electricity? And when I say Sober Jared, I mean Jared is not high. He just thinks like that.
So this all came about because I'm thinking about like we have these lights that you've never seen the lights, but you see the light that comes out of the lights if you've seen any of our videos.
Yeah, they're for lighting up the set.
And when I plug the if I have the cord plugged in, but I don't have the cord plugged into the light yet, like it's plugged into the outlet but not the light, and I plug it in, massive sparks shoot out of the light. And they look, to the naked eye, they look like they would be something that is tangible. Like you could touch it.
Danger sparks.
Yeah.
Physically existing.
Like it feels like if I touched it, it would have like
that
mass
was a little
to it.
fire.
Yeah.
A little piece of fire.
I could boop it. I feel like I could boop it.
Yeah.
I could boop a little spark.
Yeah, like it's a lightning bug.
Same thing with fire, though, right? When I see fire, I'm like, oh, I could like grab
touch
that in
that.
my hand and hold it.
Well, most things you can visibly see with the exception of like clouds, fire. You know, you can physically feel and touch and grab those things. Water's tough. Let's talk about the elements.
It is really hard to grab
It is.
water.
It's tough, man.
It's
I
like-
try every day. Hard as hell.
But that's why I'm like, okay, but if you do touch it, you do feel something. It's not good. It hurts.
It's like a slight burn mixed with electrical shock, sort of.
Yeah. So like that's the trade-off, right? The trade-off is like you can touch it, but it's not like you're touching something. It's like you're feeling something.
See? What's wrong with you? It's so weird that you don't smoke weed. Like, just bizarre. What is electricity? But then seriously, that's the kind of question where like routinely I'll stop and think and I'm like, well, I really don't know. And then it's just beyond that, I don't care. I don't want to have to learn that, man. That seems really, really complicated. And like Thomas Edison covered it, right?
Also, do you ever think about like where do all these different gases come from? Like the
Earth.
Like then where's where are
just
the
pockets of
where's
them
a
in there,
gas
dude.
pocket? Show me a gas pocket.
Help yourself to a geology book.
Show me a gas pocket.
I'll show you a gas pocket. Bend over. Hey, guess what? There are ratings on Spotify now, so you should rate our show on Spotify. Or if not now, then soon, because on my phone, I've got the ability to rate a couple shows, but Jared has the ability to rate 0 shows. It's one of those things they're probably rolling it out in small batches or something.
Here's a really fun thing. Are you a Ross or are you a Jared? If you're a Ross, it means you can see if you can rate shows yet. You should go see if you're a Ross, and then after you do that, you should rate all of our shows 5 stars. If there's a review thing, leave it a very glowing review.
Yes.
Because we're trying to get to the top of Spotify's charts in the ratings.
Get in
So
there.
You can do that.
5 stars. If it allows you to write something, write it. This already exists on Apple Podcasts. If you listen on Apple Podcasts and you have not rated and reviewed, go do so immediately. Unsubscribe, resubscribe, tell all your friends and family about RBP, share the show with everyone you know. If you're a Spotify listener, I will reiterate once more, ratings are coming, and when they do, we expect you to uphold your legal duty to this show as a member of this gang or deal with the consequences.
Much like douchebags, the ratings are going to be coming down your throat.
Wow.
So make sure you're there.
Glad we came full circle on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Sex. Go to patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast today, and every Friday you'll get an ad-free, exclusive premium edition, a new episode of this show that nobody else has access to except for our supporters on Patreon who pledge a minimum of $5 monthly so that we can build a business. Jared and I have a solid thing going here at Bolen Media. We're the only 2 full-time employees. We've got contract Cade through the end of September, through the end of October, I guess. But then, like, obviously, in order to bring him on, that's more money coming out of our budget that we've got to have to pay him in the first place. So we're trying to get bigger. We're trying to grow so that we can continue to bring in more people, add to our team, and make sure we take this thing to the next level. We've done a lot in the last few months in the way of big steps for Bolen Media, which you can also read about on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast when you join today, because every month I write a column that's the Bolen Media Monthly Update, kind of giving you an idea of where we're at.
It's very transparent as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm not playing. I don't hold anything back at all at this point. It's just no reason to. And I like people having very inside looks at what it is that we're doing here and why we're doing what we're doing here. So yeah, if any of that sounds good to you, if you want to support the show, if you want more of the show, Patreon, patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast. Support our sponsors. Get on Patreon. Jared's going on Florida vacation. Woo-hoo. Wish him well. Follow at Jared Borslow on social media for a taste of the J-Bone Sunshine State life.
Mm-hmm. You can also follow at Formula Bone. Not to toot my own horn.
Toot it.
But I got my first million view video on YouTube.
Didn't see that coming.
I had multiple million view videos on TikTok.
Right.
That's old news. Okay.
Right. YouTube as a platform, though, not somewhere you and I have seen a ton of success.
Not at all.
And then out of nowhere, you started to crack the code with these Formula Bone shorts, as they're called on YouTube. It's YouTube's version of TikTok or Reels on Instagram. And Jared got one over 1 million views on the Formula Bone YouTube page. So follow Formula Bone everywhere. TikTok at Formula Bone, Twitter at Formula Bone. He live tweets during the F1 races. It's awesome. Yeah. I am at WR Bolen everywhere. We are at the Ross Bolen Podcast on Instagram and TikTok, at Ross Bolen Pod on Twitter.
50K TikTok followers for
RBP.
Go. First brand to hit 50K. I guess, wait, is OCC at 50K anything yet?
Well, and frankly, we would have hit it a couple weeks ago, but we just kept catching random TikTok bans for me threatening Nick Merckx and the like.
We got 12 days of bans in over the course of a month.
It was ridiculous. It hindered our growth a little, but then we shot past 50K. It's been awesome to see how much people on TikTok enjoy the show. We found a lot of new listeners, and if you're new here, Jared and I would love to hear from you. Holler at us on social media at Jared Borslow, at WRBOLEN. And let us know how you've enjoyed the show so far.
I want to know this, legitimately. We've never had somebody yet. We know by looking at the numbers that there are people who found us from TikTok.
Right.
But we have not had anybody say,
I found you on TikTok, and here's how.
So either leave a review on iTunes, 5 stars, of course, or DM the show on Instagram.
And let us know. Found you on TikTok, love the show, been listening ever since, or whatever. We'd love to hear from you.
And I'm not only saying that because about 7 months ago, Ross said to me that if somebody ever does that, he'll buy me a steak dinner.
Oh, shit, I did say that. But I said the first person that we hear from that says they found us through TikTok, Jared will get a steak dinner. So now if you don't tell us, you're depriving Jared a steak dinner, which is just fucked up because he works very hard. Don't do that.
Thank you.
Don't do that. Support our sponsors. Hit Patreon. I'll be back Friday. J-Bone's going to be in Florida. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for y'all yet, but it's going to be something special this Friday. So look forward to the Patreon episode this Friday. It'll be a little different with no J-Bone. And maybe some surprises. We'll see. But go listen to Banging the Can if you're one of my Houston sports people. Go watch the latest Formula Bone video, like it and share it. Share all the RBP videos that you see on social media. Like, comment, Spotify people, rate, review. Apple Podcast people, rate, review. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back soon. Doo-doo.